Evie, why did you want to get into politics? Was it to have a say, or as Michelle said, maybe you felt unrepresented and you want to be that person to represent others, to be the face of others?
Yeah. I suppose the straw that broke the camel's back for me was, so myself and my family have been on the waiting list to be moved into ground floor housing since 2017. And I had reached out to our councillors locally looking for help, and all but one responded to me. Wow. And I was like, we're 14% of the population. There is nobody that looks like me or is talking about the things that I care about. And I'm very much one of these people is like, if you want something done, get up and do it yourself. So I just kind of felt compelled to, stand up for my community and represent my community. In addition to having a physical disability, I also have autism. So, I'm a member of the deaf community. So I have a few things going on, and I'm a member of a few different communities. And, there was nobody there kind of speaking for, and to have that kind of, there's very little experience, I think, on county councils of councillors who have been on housing lists, who have been waiting years for, housing, for healthcare, for, and things like that. And I was like, there's nobody really speaking up for us, so we need to be at the table. And I think when you have all voices at the decision-making table, then nobody gets left behind, and it's not special treatment we want, it's an even playing field.
Yeah, and it's not that from time to time councillors won't bring forward a motion at council level, but this is about a person who truly understands or is that person, so that actually the conversation and the experience and the debate involves the person that to which we're talking about. Do you know what I'm on about? Because as I say, I know some councillors do great work in trying to highlight an emotion, but it would be a very different conversation from you, I think, because it would be, I get this, I understand it, this is the reality, this is what's been happening up until now, and this is what we need to do into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much nothing about us without us. And, it's great for people to try and advocate for us. But a lot of the time, the people advocating for us is drowning out the voices of the lived experience. And, this is why we need more migrants, we need more people with disabilities, more people who are LGBTQ sitting on our councils, because our councils, they're here on the ground, and nothing can really kind of be built and a foundation be built without our councils, and it goes up to the doll and everything like that. But the councils are the ones that are on the ground and kind of put in that groundwork into our planning, our streetscapes, facilities around the place. So, it's like I said, nothing about us without us.
Yeah, I mean, we had a situation recently whereby one of the places people could vote, was upstairs. There was no access for people, and I think there's actually a set of toilets in Letterkenny that. That are upstairs. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And you just imagine if there were people that understand that more, we wouldn't have things like this. And I suppose, Michelle, too, you're talking about it starting at council level. And now's when people need to be starting thinking about this and planning and seeing, how it would work, because there's a lot of work in it. But then you would hope then, doesn't it, that we end up with a doll, as I think Evie alluded to there, that is more representative, a very changed society here now.
Yeah, an awful lot of our TDs do start out their political life in the county councils, but see her elected. Actually, we're completely and solely focused on the local elections and the county councils, because we see the importance, as Evie said so wonderfully there. The county councils are the branch of government that's solely focused on where we live, where we conduct our lives. So the decisions that the county councils make matter to our day-to-day lives. So when Donegal County Council is sitting down to plan, to make decisions, they shouldn't have to guess how women will be affected by their decisions, or how disabled women or migrant women, traveller women, they shouldn't have to guess how their plan will play out differently, because they should know, because half of them should be women. and that same argument holds for any element of diversity and how essential it is to bring that diversity into the council chambers. And if half of the people in the room are making decisions are women, bringing their experience of what it's like to live in Donegal and their experience of working here and the knowledge from that experience, you know that the decision that's going to come out of the chamber has to look and feel very different from one that's been made by a room full of men. And, I think there's even a role here for See Her Elected in talking to voters too, for men and women alike to understand that this isn't about having a disabled woman or a traveller woman or half of the people in the room as women. If men and women understand that everyone benefits from having all of those different perspectives in the council. So it's not the same type of people talking to each other year after year. And you have a very good example there in Milford in the 2019 local elections. Two young women, Maria Doherty and Emer Friel, lost out their seat to Ian McGarvey, who was elected alongside John O'Donnell and Liam Blaney. Three very good men with the interests of Milford at their hearts. But this isn't about women being better than men or men being better than women. It's about a balance and bringing in that diversity so that there's very well-rounded decisions being made. And just to finish, if I put it another way, there's
just on that point, though, you mentioned the people you mentioned. At the end of the day, though, they were there, strong candidates, parties behind them as well. So but still. They weren't elected, so it comes down to the voters, and maybe that's what you were talking about. But I know people will be texting in, going, if people wanted people in office, they would elect them into office. So how do you? We can't tell people. Can we tell people how to vote and for what reasons?
No, we can't.
Do you know what I mean?
We can't tell people how to vote because they make up their own decision. But there is a role here for the political parties in the candidates that they're picking, and the work that See Her Elected are doing, because women often wait to be asked to run and they're often asked at the last minute. So in See Her Elected, we're asking now in 2021, we're putting together this module of workshops around our guidebook, which start in November, and take you the whole way through to the local elections. So you know where to start and you have something to consult and you have a group of women that you're working with the whole way through. But then, sometimes, and this again is directed at the political parties, that sometimes women don't get a choice, men and women don't get a choice to vote for women. 100%. If you were in Lifford Stranorla in 2019, there wasn't a woman on the ballot paper at all.
Mm-hmm. And there have been co-option opportunities too that weren't availed of as well. So I take what you're saying.
Well, Niamh Kennedy was atop the poll. Rena Donaghy got in on the first count as far as I know. So women do, people do vote for women.
Yeah, you talk about the amount of in politics. What's a realistic target? It's 25% of county councillors across the country are women. Much fewer than that. I think it's about half of that, if not a little bit less. I think it was 8% in Donegal the last time I calculated those figures. I'm not sure if it's changed.
Four out of 37. I'm afraid I can't do the sum in my head. Is that about 11%?
About 11%. You're not far off it. Realistically, post 2024, where could that figure be at? Do you think? We'll talk about how people can engage with your services and stuff, by the way, because I know that's the important thing. But I just wanted to talk a bit about the background as well, Dr. Maher. But where do you think a realistic target is?
50-50, half and half, and 13 of those to be people with disabilities, as Evie has said there. Traveller population, migrant populations, you're not going to get decisions that are well-rounded unless everyone who lives in the county has some level of representation in there.
Can we do that through the system we currently have?
Well, it'll involve everybody playing a part. See Her Elected are going to give it a good shot up there in the northwest. We'd love women to engage with us. Not necessarily women who are thinking of running for election, but if you'd like to get behind a woman as part of a campaign team, or you just want to know a little about politics, and maybe it's more 2029 you're thinking about, then get in touch with us.
All right, Evie, do you think you'll be successful 2024? Like, what needs to change?
Well, when I was running in 2019, I had a very small team. It was me, my dad was my campaign manager, and I had one other person. Our branch at the time in Cork Southwest was like me, Holly Cairns, who's now a TD, and like 2 other members. And now we're one of the biggest branches in the country, thanks to the amazing work that Holly's doing. And you know, it's funny because afterwards, you know, I had people stopping me in the street or in the shop and be like, I really wish you got elected. And I was like, you have to come out and help me, you know, because like, even with a small team, there were so many places I couldn't physically go in my wheelchair, because I was like using my wheelchair when I was out and about to conserve my energy to talk to people on the doors and to reduce my injuries and things like that, because there were so many injuries over the year that I was running. And but I think next time, I think well, I'm hopeful that I'll get in next time, and that's if I'm selected. You know, it is down to the branch.
Yeah,
and,
but all things going the way they may. Okay, Michelle, too. You know, even if maybe those that do regularly vote are hard to, you know, if it's hard for them to change their voting patterns or their minds, there's a majority, actually, I think, it certainly in some electoral areas and in some counties, that don't vote at all. And if they're not engaging because they're frustrated, get out and you can actually make a change.
Yeah, I certainly speak to the people who think that their vote doesn't make a difference, because in local elections, actually every vote makes a huge difference. Seats can be won and lost on, you know, 1 or 2 transfers. So, you know, there's, again, and I'm delighted to see that politics and society has become a subject now in secondary schools. I think seeing younger women like Evie running for election, like Emer Kelly down in Roscommon, that we have those younger women, Claire Curran, the TD over in Roscommon as well, you know, that we're beginning to see younger women, because having those role models is very, very important. And can you imagine if you're a young disabled girl and you see Evie Nevin in her wheelchair being elected into Cork County Council, you know, the message that sends to that young girl, it's vitally important.
And we see that across society. Go, Evie,
be the change you want to see is kind of like what stuck with me. And it does, like I've been contacted by so many people with disabilities that were like, finally somebody,
which drives you on, presumably, that goes, actually, you know what, I'm doing the right thing here. This is important.
Yeah,
this makes a difference. Yeah, I get you. So, Michelle, how do people engage with your organisation? And now's the time. As I say, if it's 2029, so be it. If it's 2024, but you know, now is the time. And there's an online event coming up very shortly. In fact, isn't it, the day after tomorrow?
Yeah, there is, on Wednesday at 7:00. It's actually myself and Evie just sitting down and having a chat.
Without me interrupting and ruining it. So that's the advantage. This was just a sampler. You can get out again.
And the 2 of us are well able to talk. So we're going to try and corral ourselves to 20-25 minutes, but plenty of opportunity there for anyone who's listening in to come in and ask Evie questions about what is it really like, what works, what doesn't work. We're following up then the following Wednesday, where we have Ireland's longest serving and continuously elected councillor, Mary Hilda Kavanagh from Kilkenny, along with Emer Kelly, Ireland's newest woman councillor, talking about 2 very different perspectives there on being in the council. You'll find all the information on our website, seeherelected.ie.
Okay, Evie, thank you very much for joining us. It's been lovely having you on. Thank you very much, and good luck in 2024.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, and also, of course, Dr. Michelle Maher, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very much.